Hi guys! Welcome to my channel. My name is Paula and I am an international student graduate here in Canada. So in this episode, I will share with you the steps that I took for me to be able to land here in Canada as an international student without having an agency. So if you want to know more about it, please keep on watching. So before we begin, I just want to clear one thing, that I don't hold any Canadian professional immigration license here in Canada. So everything that is here in my vlog will be solely about the steps that I personally took and also what actually worked for me. I have organized this vlog series in such a way that you can just hit play and pause whenever you are in the application process. So in this vlog series, I will be having 3 videos. The first one is this video will be focusing more on the application, your application to the school here in Canada. And the second video will be focusing more on the application of the study permit. And the third video will be more on the combination of both, but focusing more on the estimated expenses and the timelines for both of it. So end-to-end siya. I want to begin by sharing with you a quick background of myself. Again, my name is Paula and I am an international student graduate here in Canada. And I finished my 1-year postgraduate advanced diploma in international business last year. And before I moved here in 2018, I was living in Metro Manila and working as a marketing professional for a couple of years already. So that day, before I moved here, I explored the skilled workers overseas under a certain provincial nominee program for a couple of years. However, it did not materialize for me. So as soon as I learned about the international student stream, sabi ko, why don't I give it a try? And fortunately, it worked. So this is what you have been waiting for. So let's proceed to the pre-step. The pre-step that I recommend is for you to ensure that you are on it 100%. So bakit? Moving to Canada isn't just about your time, your energy, your effort, the money, your hopes and dreams, but also it is about leaving everything behind, including your dream career that you have already started, your lifestyle, your prized possessions, your valued friends, families, and pets. So even though there are a lot of Filipinos here in Canada, I can really say that Canada is really nothing like the Philippines. The same way that Philippines is really nothing like Canada. So once you are on it 100%, then you are ready to proceed with step number 1. So step number 1 is to find out if you do need a study permit or not. So in most cases, if not all, Filipinos do need a study permit. But I will walk you through on how you can find out if you do need one or not. Okay, so the objective of this exercise is for us to be able to know if we need a study permit or not. So the first step is we copy the first link that I have provided in the description box, copy it, and then paste it on a new window, and then hit enter. And then the link will lead you to the Government of Canada's webpage, wherein it will tell you if you need a study permit or not. So if you scroll down a bit, the government will ask you 3 questions for them to be able to assess and then for them to come up with an answer to your question. So the first question is, what do you want to do? Our answer should be, I want to come to Canada and start studying. Then, second question, how long do you want to study in Canada? We always answer more than 6 months. Later I will share with you why. And then for the third question, do any of these describe you? So read the first 4, and if none of those ones apply to you, then hit none of these describe me. If you have already answered the three questions, then just hit find out if you need a study permit. Then the government will tell you if you need a study permit or not. So in our case, yes, we do need a study permit and we should apply for our permit before we travel to Canada to study. Now that you have validated that you need a study permit, then we can proceed to step number 2. Step number 2 is to identify your province and city of choice. So you may want to ask yourself, where in Canada do you want to study and live in? So maybe at the back of your head, you may have a couple of cities that you have pre-selected, maybe because there is a presence of your family or friends or any kind of support system, or also you just, after a thorough research, you just want to stay in this city because of the lifestyle, the standard, basically the standard of living. But if you don't have any of those ones, then my tip for you is to be able to have a clear sense of what your end goal is, and also what are the things that you are willing to sacrifice for the first few years. Assuming that your end goal is to become a permanent resident here in Canada and you are willing to sacrifice to live all by yourself for the first couple of years, then you may want to consider looking for a less popular city and a less popular province or in the colder regions. So why do I recommend that one? I have two basic reasons. Number one is permanent residence is more attainable in a shorter amount of time in those areas. Why so? Because these types of cities have less people. So, yung provincial government nila, dahil walang masyadong tao, they are actually more open to immigration. They are inviting more immigrants to come over to their province to be able to help them boost their local economies. Second reason, and I think the more practical reason, is because of your resources. So you should be able to understand that your resources are coming from the Philippines. So there will be a currency shift from Philippine peso to Canadian dollars. So dito sa mga less popular cities, those normally have lesser or lower standards of living. Therefore, it's wiser for you to live in those areas. So I recommend that you make a list of your shortlisted cities and provinces, but I recommend that you just pick one city per province so that when you try to compare them against each other, the differences are more pronounced. For this exercise, I'll just select Surrey in British Columbia. So now that you have selected your city of choice in the province of your choice, then you can go to step number 3. Step number 3 is identify a qualified learning institution within your city of choice. So let me proceed first with a term called DLI. What is DLI? DLI stands for Designated Learning Institution. So the government of Canada describes that institutions as those learning institutions that accepts international students. These DLI numbers are normally presented as letter O plus 12-digit number. Having in mind your city of choice, the next thing you will do is find out what are the learning institutions in that area that have DLI numbers. In the next slides, I will be showing you how to do it. But first, copy the second link from the description box and then paste it in a new window so that you can follow me from there. So in this exercise, our objective is to be able to select a qualified learning institution within your city of choice. So what we are going to do is you copy the second link that I have provided on the on the description box, and then paste it on the browser and then select enter, and that link will lead us to the designated learning institutions list. So basically this page has all the learning institutions that has that DLI number that is located within Canada. So if you scroll down, you will find a filter that allows us to target a specific province or territory. So since we already know that Suri is in British Columbia, then we will select British Columbia. So now you can see it here. In British Columbia, we know that there are 266 schools or learning institutions that have designated learning institution numbers. If we scroll down a bit, let's first see the first three columns. So the first column is the name of the institution or name of the school. The second column will be the designated learning institution numbers of the respective schools. And then the third column is the city in British Columbia where that school is located. So before we proceed, I want to introduce a term called PWGP or Postgraduate Work Permit. In its most basic sense, it is granted by the federal government of Canada specifically to international student graduates that permits them to work full-time at any employer within Canada. Going back to the learning institutions, so I just have to warn you that even though those institutions have DLI numbers, doesn't mean it is already qualified. So for a learning institution to be qualified, it has one, a DLI number, and two, it has to offer postgraduate work permit eligible programs. So you may want to ask, what is the implication to you? So for example, if you enroll in a learning institution that has a DLI number but does not offer a postgraduate work permit eligible program, then it just means one thing. Sinayang mo lang ang pera mo. Yeah, you just wasted everything. There are two possible scenarios that I can think of that can happen to you if you enroll in that type of learning institution. So number one, after you graduate, you just have to fly back to the Philippines and that's it. And then number two, you can apply or you can look for an employer who is willing to sponsor you. So if they sponsor you, you can apply for a closed work permit. But to be honest with you, right now at this point, it's not really easy to find an employer to be able to sponsor you unless your skills will fall under the skilled trade, or in layman's term, sa Pilipinas, we call it the blue-collar jobs. So in the next slides, I will walk you through how to find a qualified learning institution that has a DLI number and offers postgraduate work permit eligible programs. Let's go back to the two colleges that we have previously selected. So the first one was a Capital College, and yes, it has a designated learning institution number. However, it does not offer a postgraduate work permit eligible program. While the other one, which is the Douglas College, it has a DLI number and at the same time, it offers programs that are postgraduate work permit eligible. So clearly, Douglas College is something that we can consider applying for. So now that you have already identified a qualified learning institution within the city of your choice, then you can now move to step number 4. So step number 4 is to find a program that you would like to enroll in. Step number 5. Step number 5 is for you to find out what are the admission requirements and the deadlines for the program. So normally, the admission requirements come into 3 parts. The first one is the educational requirement, which is just about the age and your educational attainment before you take that program. And second requirement will be your English proficiency requirement. So you will be required to take the IELTS academic exam or test, and you are expected to earn at least 6.5 overall band and no less than 6.0 in all tests for you to be able to qualify. But the thing is, it's not generic or it's not standard across all programs. So there are actually programs that will require way higher IELTS results, like communications and maybe marketing communications, because it depends. It require whatever the program requires you to be in terms of your English proficiency. It depends on that. And then lastly, it will be the other documentation, such as accomplished admission forms, then transcripts, mga diplomas, and IELTS exam, and passports. So in terms of timing, I recommend you to look for the schools and programs 1 year before the intake or the first day of classes. Because personally, what I did was I looked for and applied for that program 9 months before the intake. So what happened was I wasn't able to choose the program that I personally would like to pursue. So I was left with, even though it was a postgraduate advanced diploma or somehow a master's, hindi pa rin talaga yun yung gusto kong i-take. Not even my first choice nor second choice. But that was the only program that had a slot for me. Step number 6, submit those requirements to your school's admissions office. So normally the schools have the checklist, admission documents checklist. So by all means, if they do have it, just download it and then use it. Okay? But if they don't, then I recommend that you make your own para hindi kayo mahirapan in gathering all the documents that you need. So, and also, it is a very good practice so that you won't be able to miss out on anything that is part of the requirement. Kasi dahil hindi pa confirmed yung slot nyo, pwedeng malipat sa iba. So, it might jeopardize everything. Once you have gathered all the documents, then scan it and save it in your computer. And then my tip here is to save it as PDF and then save it using this file name. So why this? Because it will be easier for you to double check all the scanned documents that you have and check it against your checklist, and also it will be easier for the admissions officer to check all the documents from their end as well. Once you have already scanned and properly labeled your documents, then you can send it directly to the admissions officer for international students. But if you don't know where to send it, feel free to reach out to the contact details that is provided under the Contact Us section of that certain school. And you can just ask them where can you send it so that you don't have to expose your information to a lot of people there, even though it's a school. But still, diba, we would like to protect our identity as much as possible. And once you are done with it, they will, when they receive it, they will review it. They will run a preliminary check on all your documents and see if you are qualified to apply for as an international student under their school. So if you are, then they will give you an instruction on how you can submit all the physical copies of those documents that you have just submitted so that they will be able to verify it. Step number 7, receive the offer letter. So once they have verified all your documents that you have just sent them, then and if they see that you are qualified to become their student, then they will send you an offer letter. So the offer letter will contain, but not limited to, the all the payments that have to be done, and then the deadlines as well, and also an instruction on how you will accept the offer letter. If you have received your offer letter and you are 100% sure that you really want to study and live in Canada, then it's time for step number 8. Step number 8 is to accept your offer letter. So the process of accepting the offer letter varies from the school you are going to enroll in. But for me, in my case, I have to pay for the initial deposit, and then the receipt of that initial deposit will be submitted to the admissions office, because that is the way on how they will know that you have accepted the offer letter. Then, in return, you will receive your letter of acceptance. The letter of acceptance is the most important document in this whole process. So, the letter of acceptance is a document that validates that you have been accepted into a Canadian qualified learning institution here in Canada, which the government requires you to be able to prove to them. Then you're done with your application. Yay! Just to recap the whole process, we started with a pre-step, which is for you to ensure that you are 100% on it. And then the first step will be to find out if you need a study permit to be able to study here in Canada. Second one is for you to choose the province and city of your choice. And then step number 3 is for you to find a school within the city of your choice. And then step number 4, find a program in that school. Step number 5, find out what are the admission requirements and deadlines of that program. Step number 6, submit all the documentations to the admissions officer. Step number 7, receive your offer. And step number 8 is to accept the offer for you to be able to get the LOA, or letter of acceptance. And that's it. This is the end of this vlog. And also, I want to let you know that the part 2 of this vlog will be all about the comprehensive step-by-step process on how to apply for a study permit here in Canada. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you don't, then please leave a comment down below on the areas for improvement on this vlog. And also please help me help more people by sharing this videos to with your friends and family, or anyone that you know who might need it most. And also, don't forget to subscribe in my channel and then hit the bell button so that you will be notified for the latest updates of my vlog. And see ya! Bye!